Oitzer of Yerushalayim, that is the Gilui HaOitzers that the king throws out and gives because of to be menatzeach nemilchama, to be able to be victorious in the world, in the war. That is related to what he said earlier about tzidkas Purzono. Purzono is in the word prozos, that it's the Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim, that Nekuda of Oitz of Yerushalayim is a level of open, meaning beli gvul, because of it being revealed dafke in the time of Golus, and the Mesiras Nefesh in the time of Golus, and then you have the revelation of Eitzori HaToiv and Tuv and so on. So now he's holding of explaining that this level of the Oitzer Yerushalayim, that is higher than all the Giluyim, even the Giluyim of the Neshama, even from Makifim of Chaya Yechida. So the Rebbe is about to pose a question: how can you say that it's higher than even the Makifim of Chaya Yechida? Isn't Yechida the highest level? So we're holding on page test, the 5th page of the Maimer, line 6. So he says, "Dehine gam Yechida Irak bechinas Shem v'Gilui Bilvad." Also, Yechida is only a name and a revelation alone. It's only a revelation, even though very often it's associated with the Etzma Nefesh. What makes me say that it's a revelation? Chazal say, Chamisha Shemis Nikru La, that the Neshama was called by 5 names. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chai, Yechida. That tells us Shegam bechinas Yechida Hirak Shem v'Gilui Bilvad v'Lo Etzma Neshama. Even Yechida is only a name, and a name we know is only a revelation. It's not the essence of the Neshama. Therefore, since Yechida is a name that the Neshama is called by, so the Oitzer of Yerushalayim, v'inyan Nekudas HaYerushalayim, this point of Yerushalayim, this Oitzer that becomes revealed during the time of Golus through the Mesiras Nefesh, u'mitzad Etzma Neshama comes from the essence of the Neshama. V'zeu ma sheyir'ah, it's supposed to be yir'ah, not yir'eh, but yir'ah zu imagas batzmus yizboreh. This is the idea that this awe, this Nekuda of Yerushalayim, this Mesiras Nefesh, reaches the Eibishter's very essence, and that's why there's no Hagbola. That's why it's parozos, it's open. Like was explained earlier in the second note, we said that there's many different levels of Yira. There's Yiras Ha'inish and Yiras Chait, and there's the level of Yiras Ha'roimimus, and there's Yiras Alakim and Yiras Havaya, and in Havaya there's the Yira, the way it's connected with every single one of the letters of Yud Kei Vav Kei, until there's a level of Yira that has to do with the spitz, the point on top of the letter Yud. But the level of this Yira is beyond all of that, and therefore it reaches beyond the name of Hashem as well, even beyond the level of the Kaitz, Hashem's very essence. The Kivim Sheyira Mitzad Etzma Neshama Shalamayla Machamisha Shemis Nefesh Ruach Shama Chai Yechida, since this awe of Hashem is a result of the essence of the Neshama that's higher than the 5 names Nefesh Ruach Neshama Chai Yechida. That's why it reaches higher than the 4 letters of Shem Yud Kei Vav Kei B'chinas Kutzi Shel Yud, and higher even than the point on top of the Yud. It reaches Hashem's very essence, because Hashem Himself is also the Lo Yisram is Mishum Mois Mishloim Mishum Kotz. He is beyond any letter of the names of the Eibishter, and beyond even the points on top of the letters. So he goes on to say, like we said before, V'haneitzach zu Yerushalayim. We said that the Chazal say on the pasuk L'cho Hashem Agdula V'Agvura V'Tferes V'haneitzach V'Hoid. So he says Neitzach, that's referring to Yerushalayim. Why is that so? For what we just now said, Yerushalayim is the essence of the Yira, the core, the Nekudas Oitzer of Yerushalayim, and that Mesiras Nefesh becomes revealed when you're dealing with the level of Netzach, when you have to defeat an enemy. So he says in line 19, the revelation of this level is for the sake of victory. That's the idea of actual self-sacrifice. Through self-sacrifice is one victorious in the war. A soldier that's going to war without the idea of being ready to give up his life, that's not a soldier. So obviously every soldier is about being ready and able to give up his life. This is the empowerment for every single Yid. That Hashem assists him through this assistance of the Eibishter. A person is able to be victorious in the war in his daily service. Not only on Shabbos, when the world is elevated and the person is elevated, but also in the daily life. Then the Rebbe says, Shabbos is b'chlal not shaykh the whole idea of war. V'adrabah, Yom HaShabbos ein izman milchama. The day of Shabbos is not a time of war, as we know. It's not a time of birurim and so on. Through this power of self-sacrifice that's beyond any measure and limitations and boundaries. Therefore, this is beyond any types of calculations. Just like what we speak about in the famous mashal we spoke about, you mentioned yesterday, about the king expending all of his treasures. How can he do that? It's not logical. Things that have not been even seen for generations. Because of the self-sacrifice. Top of page Yud. It's not possible for him to make a calculation. Even should he expend the treasures for this reason or for that reason. And the Maimer of the Frierdiker Rebbe explains that the shame should be inyan kibush hamilchama begashmis. Just like in a physical war where you need to conquer territory. There are very great sages, very wise people that are diligent in thinking all about different types of strategy, how to prosecute the war. And then there's the foot soldiers. They do not know whatsoever about the deep ideas of strategy. They are doing their work of being a soldier with faith and self-sacrifice. And the main conquering that goes through in the war, that's through the army people that are fighting with self-sacrifice, that they are the ones that are victorious. So too, it's in the spiritual war with the klippos. These are the soldiers that Hashem's awe and fear illuminated their heart. Like it's explained over there in that Maimer at length, in the Maimer of Tafresh Peites, about this Anshe Chayil. The fact that he says that the victory in the war is specifically through the soldiers. So one might think, okay, soldiers, you're it. Let's not pay any attention to the commanders or whatever, or let's not give them any credit. So the Rebbe says, the intention by making such a big deal about the soldiers over here is not to chas v'shalom, heaven forbid, negate and to exclude the high officials, the officers that are involved in strategy. Rather, the point of this statement is also the avoida of the high officials and the high officers Tzricha needs to be loy mitzad seichel, not because of their intellect, v'gam loy mitzad b'chinas hagiluyim shalamayim seichel, not only from the perspective of the revelations that are beyond intellect, but it rather has to be it has to be in a way of total self-sacrifice, just like ordinary soldiers. Through that, also their service is also going to tap into and be as a result of the essence of the neshama that's higher than the level of revelations. Then they are also included in the armies that Hashem's awe illuminated their heart. In other words, the Rebbe is like saying to the leaders of the generation, he's saying to the Tzaddikim, he's saying about even the Rabbeim and the Nesiim, just because we are using intellect and we are directing the troops and we are telling them what they have to do and so on and so forth, but we have to be ma'oder within ourselves also the same level of Mesiras Nefesh that the foot soldier has as well. And that's by transcending our own intellect. Now again, this doesn't mean that all of a sudden they shut down their minds. They are the Nesi Hadoir, they are the Rabbeim, they have to teach us with Seichel, but their devotion and connection to the Eibishter is not limited by what they understand. So now the Rebbe says a further point. He's being medayik in the words of the Friedrich Rebbe's Maimer from Tafresh Peitas, line 23. Masha medayik noga belibam. But he says exactly that it illuminated nogas in the word shining. It illuminates their heart. What is that concept? What's the point that the Friedrich Rebbe is trying to say? Because the essence of the soul that's beyond the level of revelation is only in the heart and not in the brain. So that's why it says specifically illuminating the heart. The brain is intellect. The heart is brought on Chassidus, that's called the Re'usa Deliba, the will of the heart, the essential bond and connection that Nekuda of Oitzir Shemaim is in the heart, and so on. Meaning, just like in the kingdom down here, just like in the world down here when we're dealing with a war. To be able to be victorious in the war, the king expends his treasures and he gives them to the troops. So too, it's in the kingdom of heaven to be able to be victorious in the war. They open up the supernal treasure that's beyond the level of revelation, and they give it to the Yidden. Through that is revealed the treasure of Yerushalayim that's in every Yid. So Hashem reveals His treasures, and that awakens the treasure that's within us. And so that's a level where it's coming so too, it's on the other hand, going from below to above. Through Yidden standing in self-sacrifice. They awaken the treasure of heaven that's in them. So then, one spirit awakens the other spirit. In other words, it's just another expression for through our inspiration in our spirit that awakens the spirit of the Eibishter. That it's opened up for them the treasure of above, like we explained earlier in the Maimon we brought from the Friedrich Rebbe. Hashem will open up for you your His good treasure. And this treasure that Hashem opens assists them in their service to conquer in the war. Not only is it a spiritual treasure that helps the Yidden out in their avodah, but the treasure manifests itself physically as well. That much goodness comes down to Yidden, lemata ma'asar tvachim, below 10 handbreadths, v'toiva nir v'anigla, in the revealed and visible good. Then the Rebbe, again, this was a mimer, part of the Basel Lagani series. This is the one of 3 mamorim that the Rebbe was saying Basel Lagani in that year. And then this was the second one. This was said Shabbos by day. And from here, he led into Basel Lagani that we don't have that second mimer. Will be understood more in detail by first prefacing what was explained in the mimer that was given out for the Frierdiker Rebbe's Hilula Day in Basel Lagani Achoisikala, and then he's going to continue from here to the third mimer. The next mimer we're going to learn is going to have the third mimer that the Rebbe said Motzoi Shabbos of that year of Tavshin Chav Daled, and he's going to incorporate, as we mentioned in the notes, with the Hebrew letters, parts of the second mimer that the Rebbe said and parts of the first mimer. Any questions before we go on?